Good morning, everybody. My name is Jim Cagnina with NinjaTrader. It is May 22nd, 2023. Happy Monday, and welcome to NinjaTrader Platforms Unleashed. We're going to do some deep dives into the 3 different NinjaTrader platforms over the course of several weeks. We appreciate everybody being here. Before we go too far, let me remind everybody, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, and it's suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. And although that can be an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful, only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. My personal definition of risk capital is money I can afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, lengthen my retirement horizon, or overly stress me out. I make bad decisions when I'm under stress, and I think most human beings also might make bad decisions. So be in a good spot. Remember, micro contracts are friends. Easy on the day trade margins. You get plenty of leverage without maxing out on those day trade margins on a regular basis. We will be taking a peek at a real-time simulated live NinjaTrader trading platform today. And none of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. And past performance not indicative of future results. All right, folks. Well, thanks for being here with me. I'm really excited about this, this whole series about the platform. You could participate in the chat. The chat resides at ninjatrader.com/learn. So if you have questions or you want me to show something, kind of move over into that area if you get a chance. Joining me behind the scenes is Ed Jerkin. Ed is on the brokerage side of the NinjaTrader. And he could, first of all, I've met Ed a couple of years ago. He's extraordinarily talented, smart, and a fabulous human being. So if you have questions, get them in there into the chat. He'll answer them or pass them on to me. And anything goes in the chat today. So if you have brokerage related questions, Ed is there for you as well, or platform questions. And he will be my sidekick in this series going forward over the next several weeks. So having said all that, I appreciate everybody being here. Today, we're going to focus on setting up a workspace. And each show is kind of focus on a special part of the platforms. Remember, there's 3 ways to trade. There's the PC-based NinjaTrader platform, which is the download, which I'm going to show on my screen in a second. The second is the web-based platform, which you could access from a web browser. Maybe you're using Safari. Maybe you're using a laptop on the beach. I don't know where you're at, but you could do it there. And then there's the mobile app also. And we're going to cover all of these things over the series of these courses. So let's take a peek at the desktop. Today, we're going to start with creating a workspace. And on my screen here, you're going to see we're going to recreate this workspace. This is my workspace. I have everything condensed onto one screen. NinjaTrader is very modular. You could put windows on different screens if you want. A lot of people have different monitors, multi-monitor setups, and that kind of thing. But we're going to start from scratch and focus on setting up a workspace in this particular show today. And then next week, we're going to really dig deep down into this market analyzer on the right-hand side. It's so incredibly powerful. So let's go ahead and get started here. And I'm going to go to this workspace tab at the top, and I'm just going to hit new. I'm going to hit new. And we're going to call it, we could name it whatever we want. We could have as many workspaces as we want, as few as we want. I don't know. We can call this 3 ways to trade. We'll call it 3 ways to trade. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, when you log in to NinjaTrader, most likely for the first time after you download it, you're just going to get this rectangle up here, and it's going to, mostly going to be blank. And you're going to be like, what is this? This is very powerful. There's a lot of stuff this does. This is kind of like the heart of the whole PC-based platform. Remember, award-winning NinjaTrader platform is what we're looking at right now. So when you get this for the first time, you might wonder, okay, what do I do next? How do I set things up? So I'm going to walk you through all that. And you'll notice a series of tabs at the bottom. We have an account tab, which lists all of your accounts. I have a live account, a couple of sim accounts up here on the screen. And you can see there's different columns up here that we could, customize and change different columns, add different pieces of information. And this is what I have on mine right now. I have, displaying it. I have the name of the account, my cash value, intraday margin, excess intraday, initial margin, excess initial margin, net liquidating value, realized P&L, unrealized P&L, total P&L, and you can customize this to just show the stuff you wanted to show. We have a positions tab, and we'll see when we get into a position, you'll see information up here. We have an execution tab, an orders tab, and then a strategies tab as well. And we'll create some of this stuff as we go forward. At the top, there's menus with buttons, new, tools, workspaces, connections, help. Let's start building this right now. Let's go ahead and hit that new button, because first thing I want to do is I want to create a market analyzer, right? So I'm going to go to this drop-down menu, click this new button. You'll see all sorts of options here. We're going to go market analyzer. You can think of this market analyzer as a quote board to start. Quote board to start. It gets a lot more in depth from there, but we'll keep that there as well. So again, it comes up blank, and you can see there's a tab at the bottom of it. Let me shrink this up so we can see a little bit better. Then a plus sign, you can create another tab area as well. Very modularized in NinjaTrader. So the first thing I want to do, and this is really part of the intuitive power of this platform, you right click and stuff happens. You right click on a space and stuff happens. So I'm right clicking right here in Market Analyzer, and I can see all of these options, right? Well, I want to add some instruments. This is a quote board. So I'm going to hover my mouse over that area, and it's going to give me some options on the right. These are preset markets that I've already have on my add instruments list. Here's categories. If you want to dig into specific categories, energies, we got Forex, we got futures, you got indices, or you could hit the search button. If you click on that search button, it's going to open up another dialog box. And let's go ahead and start creating this market analyzer / quote board. And I'm going to go ahead and type in, all right, let's do, I don't know, E-mini S&P. So if you know the symbol, you just type in ES, and then it'll give you some suggestions. Which one of these do you want to do? Or you could type in the description, E-mini, S&P, same thing it'll show. I'm just going to click on it to highlight the E-mini S&P. This is the ES contract. That's the symbol. I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to add it to the list. Now, the first time you make it, you're going to have to take some time and add the contracts that you want to add, right? So that's just oops, sorry about that. Don't get too clicky, Jim. So you're going to go through this process. Now, the good news is once you set it up and format it how you want it, then it'll memorize that when you close down the platform, and you won't have to do it every day. The first time you got to do a little bit of work. So let's go ahead. I won't do a whole giant one, but let's go ahead and get some more going. Let's get, I don't know, we'll do the NASDAQ NQ, and I'm going to go ahead and just double click, right click. I'm going to work through these things as fast as possible here. We'll do another search. We'll do the Dow Jones 30. That's a very popular futures market. Let's go ahead and add that guy. And then lastly, well, let's keep moving. Let's add some other asset classes. You see, I already have gold up here. We're going to add gold. Let's go ahead and right click, and we'll do it again. We'll add another instrument. We're going to add silver. Silver. It's silver. Jim, how do you spell silver? Let's do it a little bit better here with the rest of the word. That'll narrow down my options here. Silver, SI, double click, it's there. So you could see, you could add all of these different asset classes, right? So far we have stock index futures, and we have some metals. So I don't know, let's add some energies. I think energies, that would be a legitimate thing to do, right? A lot of people are trading energy futures. Let's go to crude oil. Go crude oil. And I'm going to find crude oil on here, double click. Let's go ahead and do, I don't know, we'll do RBOB, right? RBOB's a good one. RBOB. You want to trade gasoline futures as well. We're going to get those guys in there as well. Okay, so now I have 3 different asset classes. I could add interest rates. That's another popular one. Let's go to treasury bonds. I'm going to go ahead and select treasury bonds. I know this is a little boring, but here's the whole treasury complex here. We're going to get into it. ZB is the first one I'm going to add. Let's add a 10-year note real quick. I'm going to, oopsie, click the wrong one again. I'm trying to go fast. Sorry about that, because we're going to get into how to format this thing. It's going to be really cool. So let's go to ZN, 10-year note, another asset class. All right, so this is looking okay, but we're gonna color it up a little bit. You could fill this up with any single futures market that really you have access to trade, which is an awful lot of them. But let's go ahead and keep moving here. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to click up at the top here. I want to add a label. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to add a label row. I'm going to click there, label row, and there it says label up there. right? And so I'm going to do this again a little bit lower here by gold. I'm going to add another label, add label row. I'm going to do it again. And what I'm doing is I'm separating the SI classes so I could see them better. So it's a better visual representation for me. And then we're going to change the word label to what we really think these things are, which are the actual names of these different markets. So add it again. So again, real intuitively simple here. I could just double click on the word label at the top, and I'm going to write stock index futures. And then again, I could add micros in here. I could add the Russell 2000. I could build that whole stock index future area to be deeper. Next one, we'll call it metals. Metals, again, just click, double click, energy, futures, or whatever you'll remember, and then interest rates. Double click here. Come on, Jimmy. Here we go. Interest rate futures. Some folks call these financial futures, but we're going to call them interest rate futures. Now I'm going to do a little formatting and some color stuff. The first thing I'm not really keen on is this yellow, right? This is every time a price changes, it flashes yellow, white, and I'm going to change that a little bit. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to the properties button all the way at the bottom here. And it brings up another dialog box, right? These dialog boxes are awesome because you could change font sizes, you could change colors, you could add lines, you could do all sorts of stuff. But in order to get rid of that yellow, I'm going to go down here. It says row changed highlight background yellow. If you want to keep it, you could keep it. I'm going to change it to transparent. We'll hit apply and okay. All right, now still pretty boring, right? Everything's kind of pretty much the same color. That's okay. We're going to change things up a little bit. And so I'm going to go to properties. And from the labels, I have transparent background, and then the foreground. When you see foreground, that means the font, right? That means the font, and I have it at black. But for the labels, let's say I want to make the background. I don't know. We'll make it different color. We'll make it blue, okay? And then we'll make the let's make the font white. See how that looks. Hit apply. Oopsie. And okay. All right. Now things are starting to look up. The other thing, though, you know what? I want this right justified. Sorry about that. Right click and go back to the properties window. And I could here it says label row. Go left. Okay. Hit apply and okay. All right. So there's the basic start of it. Now I want to add a column here because I need a little bit more information. I want to see the net change, right? So I'm going to go right. Click again. I'm right clicking. That's all I'm doing. I'm right clicking in the white space. It's really easy to do. You get this drop down menu with all of these options, and I'm going to hit columns. What do we got? We have a lot of stuff to choose from. Some of these might not apply to futures, but many of them do. And we're going to go into a deeper dive next week on this market analyzer and how to have analytics and stuff on here as well. But for now, I just want to kind of put net change up here. So I'm going to see it up here in the available section, net change. I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to go down and click add. I want to move everything from available down to configuration, and then I could format it. Or I could just double click on that change. Now see how it populated down here on configure? All right, it's there. I'm going to highlight it. And then I have options. We're not done yet. We have, I could make the net change %, and this is from the close yesterday. So I want to see, where we are from yesterday's close. We can go currency, %, tips. You're a Forex trader, you like pips, points, ticks. I'm going to just keep it at %. I'm going to hit %, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit apply and okay. All right, so now we have a net change column on the right-hand side. So the same procedure over and over again to add whatever columns you want on your market analyzer. I'm going to do one more thing. Now, this is the one thing that's a little less intuitive. I'm going to change the colors of the % numbers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click again and go to columns. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that net change so I could activate the properties window on the right-hand side. And you'll see that there's a conditions thing here. Now, this is where it's a little unintuitive, but once I show you how to do it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I get it. Pretty easy. I'm going to go to conditions, and I'm going to go to sell, right? I'm going to click on conditions, and it's going to open up another dialog box. I'm going to add a condition, and then I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to say my condition is going to be not equals, but greater or equal, right? Now, if this number is greater or equal, then I want the percent number to be green. I'm going to add another condition. Now, this condition is if it's less than 0, I want the color to be red. So again, it kind of gives you a visual representation of up or down, right? That's all I'm doing. I hit OK, I hit apply, we hit OK, and now you see we've changed this. And this technique works with everything. Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, you could color code this thing however you want. Now, this is modular, right? So I could kind of adjust it and I could move it around, and I'm going to put it where I originally had it on my earlier workspace. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down here as well. And again, next week, we're going to really go into detail on this market analyzer because there's so much stuff you could do with it. It's much more than a quote board, including linking things together and all of that stuff. It's super cool. But for today, I want to get this workstation down, this workspace down, and I want to show you how to save it, and then take any questions. If you have any, remember, we're the chat is ninjatrader.com/learn. It's not too late to go there right now, folks, if you want to go there. So we have the quote board / market analyzer. We have our control panel up here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a chart. I'm going to go new. And let's see. Oh, there it is. There's a chart. Okay, well, let's click on that, see what happens. It gives me a dialog box. The first thing I need to do, it says instrument, right? What market do I want to show? So I'm just going to kind of type in ES for E-mini S&P, and I'm going to look for it on the list, and I'm going to click on it, double click, and it's going to apply it. Okay, and you see it's applied, ES. Now, this gives me an option, the ability to go to the property side and then change stuff, right? So the default right now, the way I have it is it's on a minute chart. You could change it to tick, volume, range, anything you want, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, Hakanashi, you name it. All of these options are available to you. I'm going to keep it at a minute chart, and then my value, this is 10. It means a 10-minute chart. If I wanted to make it a 15-minute, I change it to a 15, whatever you wanted to do. So I'm going to leave it at a 10-minute chart. Everybody knows I love 10-minute charts for some reason, right? And then here's some other stuff you could change. Days to load at 5. That's enough data for me. But if you want to have more data, you could change that to a different number if you like. It's going to pull in that data into your chart. And chart style, here's another big one. Candlestick, right? Do I want a candlestick? Do I want a line on close, a mountain, an open, high, low, close? You could pick what you want. I'm going to keep it as a candlestick for this, for today's purposes. My bar width, I'll set at 3, which is kind of a default. You could make them thicker bars or thinner bars on your candle. And then the colors, I'm going to all pretty much leave alone. But all of this stuff you could experiment with, folks. There's a lot of stuff here, but I'm just going to go ahead and create that chart. I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to open it up. And let me format it again. You could have as many of these charts open as you want, or as few of them open as you want. In this particular case, I just have one chart open, right? I have a multi-monitor setup. I'm only showing you guys one monitor, but I could have charts on the other monitors, right? So I could see them, maybe different time frames, maybe different markets, things like that. So in any event, though, we'll keep this like this for now. And this is just your basic candle. Everybody here has probably seen this time series based chart. It's pretty straightforward here. You got that little dark gray line here on the left showing this is today's session. It started last night at 6 o'clock. It's a 23-hour trading session, as most futures markets are. And this is the start of it. Now, how do you add indicators? How do you add studies? How do you work this thing? Well, there's a whole bunch of little, icons at the top. You could change your chart style. There's drawing tools here, which includes a whole bunch of stuff. We'll walk through this briefly. You could zoom in and zoom out. You could change your crosshairs to, whatever you want. And then this egg beater here is really important. We're going to talk about that. So, but what I like to do, I just like to right click. Remember, right click, stuff happens. Right click and I get a menu. And here's my menu here. First thing I'm going to do is add some indicators really quickly. So I'm going to click on this indicator option. And guess what? It opens up another dialog box. I know. So, but this is all the stuff that's available with my account. I've got all of this stuff, all the usual suspects. I don't know. There's hundreds of these things, right? So you could pick from anything that you really are interested in and play and put it on the chart. So let's go ahead and pick one. I'm gonna just do a MACD for now, and again, you could either highlight it and hit the add button at the bottom to get it down to that configuration section. Get it to the configuration section. Then it opens up the right-hand side, the property box, and you could customize it however you want. Or just double click. If you don't want to go bring your mouse all the way down to the add, it's all the way down there, just double click, shoots it down there for you. Highlight it, and now you can configure it. Fast, I have it 12. Slow, I have it 26. 9, smooth. I like all that stuff. I'm not going to change anything. The one thing, though, this is a tip. This is a tip. Calculate. See that word, calculate. Bar on closed. Well, change it to on each tick. Bar on closed, you'll have to wait for your 10 minutes before you get more data. On each tick, calculates it real time, lickety split, as the price changes, right? The other thing I wanted to point out is the panel, new panel, right? What is a panel? A panel is an area on the chart. So right now, panel 1 is where the actual candle is. I'm going to create a new panel so that the MACD is underneath it, right? So it's a second panel, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Right, scale justification right, which means the data for the MACD is going to be on the right. And then again, I could color code all of it. I could change the thicknesses and, make solid lines, dashed lines and all that stuff and be creative in how I want the thing to look. Now I'm going to hit apply and let's see what happens. Okay. So panel 1, we have the candle, the Japanese candle chart. Panel 2, we have the MACD. Again, there's a line, the vent horizon between panel 1 and panel 2. You could just kind of grab it with your mouse and move it around, and kind of, position it however you want to position it, whatever is comfortable for you. Same with the axis. So on the axis here, you're just going to go ahead and grab the axis, and you could expand it or contract it just by grabbing it with your mouse. The same up here with the chart. And then if you hold your control key down, then you could use your mouse, your left mouse click, and just, you could just be creative with how you want to place this, center this on your chart. So again, just dragging, clicking on the axis and moving it, and then hold your control key down, and you could move this around this way. Any laterally, upside down, right side up, however you want it to be. So we've created a Japanese candle chart. We added an oscillator here. It's the MACD. Now let's add one more. Let's just add one more to this. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to add, we'll just add a simple moving average. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here and I'm going to find simple moving average. It's probably SMA. SMA, simple moving average. I'm going to highlight it, hit the add button, and then click on it once it's in the configured section. And I'll be like, all right, I could change my period. I am going to change it to 20. I think that's legit. Because there's 20 days in a month, and I don't know, 20 is the kind of thing. I know it's an intraday chart, but you can make this whatever you want. I like moving average crosses at 26 and 6. That's just me. Whatever you want your period to be for your simple moving average, you could add it. I'm going to change bar on closed to on. Remember, on each tick. Always do that, in my humble opinion, so you get the latest data. You don't have to wait for a bar to close to get the data. On tick, it's just calculating it behind the scenes so fast you can't even believe it. Now I'm going to go down and look at, and also the gold line for me doesn't help because it's too hard for me to see, giving my old age as I enter my dottage. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to blue so I could see it a little bit better. You could even change the width. Now, notice I haven't changed, I have panel, same as input series, right? You could look, it's panel 1, panel 2. I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to hit apply, and I'm going to hit OK. And now I have that moving average on the actual candle. Same thing if you were adding Bollinger Bands or whatever you want to add. All right. So again, we're going to go into deep detail on charting in a couple of weeks. But for now, this is kind of a basic chart. This is how you set it up. And again, you could change it on the fly up here. You could change the market. You could change with the drop down, or just typing it. Does this look familiar, everybody? Or just type it in. Just type in what you're looking for. Gold. Boom. It'll give you the options. Oopsie. I didn't let the option materialize. Let's do that again. Sorry. Gold. Click. And then it'll give you a gold chart. 10 minutes. If you want to change 10 minutes, you could change it to any of this stuff. Really, really easy peasy. Now, this is kind of an important tip. So once you get, if you want to display a bunch of different, charts on one window, there's these tabs at the bottom you can create. You can see the lower left, I have a tab for gold, right? Now, let's say I set this chart up and I have, I don't know, 10 other indicators on here. It's good to go. I like it. And I decide, you know what? Hey, Jim, I want to go ahead and duplicate this chart. I could right click on the tab and it'll give me choices. I could duplicate in a new tab or duplicate in a new window. Totally, this makes sense, right? I could, if I hit new window, it's going to give me a new window where I could move it to wherever I want to move it to, right? Move it off the screen if I wanted to. If I go ahead and right click and say duplicate on a tab, duplicate in a new tab, it's going to add it to the bottom. So you can see at the bottom, I have two gold contracts. I'm like, wait a second. I want this to be something else. Let's change it to E-mini S&P. I'm going to change it to E-mini S&P. And so now I have gold and E-mini S&P. I could easily toggle back and forth, right? 10 minute, 10 minute. Alternatively, you might want to go, okay, I want to duplicate in a new tab, but then I want gold, but I want it to be a 30-minute chart. Go 30-minute chart. So now all of a sudden you're kind of seeing the flexibility that you could have when do it with the tab-based methodology, or a new window, right? And then just right click to rename it, right? We want to rename this one. This was, GC30, and we're going to get this dial. Here's where you change it. I know you see a weird thing that with an @ sign in there, but we're just going to change this to GC 30 minutes, and I'm going to go hit apply and okay. And at the bottom tab there, it's reminding me, hey, Jim, that's a 30-minute. So when I'm clicking around, I know what I'm looking for. Make sense? Any questions, again, type them in. Ed's got it. I got you. Just get them in as we go. But the trick here, though, no matter what method you're going to use, if you want it, it's easier to create one master chart and then start duplicating them. So you don't have to add all the color changes and the moving average cross numbers and all that stuff. You don't have to move them. It's all just however you like it, and then do it. So that's kind of that's how you do it. It's straightforward. It's pretty neat. All right, let's go ahead and add the next component to this thing. Right, we have a chart, we have a quote board. Now we're going to add a NinjaTrader Superdome. Let's do that. I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to go find Superdome. And here it is. I have the dynamic dome. There's two versions of the dome you can get. You can get the dynamic dome or you can get the static dome. And the only difference between the two really is how the price ladder changes within second for second. That's the only reason. But the data is the same and it's still very robust. I'm going to go ahead and click on this thing. Boom. And it's going to give me the Superdome. And we're going to have another event on the Superdome because it does a lot more stuff. Hence the word super. All right, let me kind of put this in here in the middle like I had it before. And now we're kind of, all right, this is exactly, Jim started the show. This is what the workspace looked like. Yeah, I didn't complete all of the quotes on the market analyzer, but I don't want to bore everybody to death because I think you got the point on how to do it. And now I have this very modular kind of windows. I can manipulate these things any way I want, and I can see everything in one view, including my accounts, my position tab, my executions, and my orders. Now, when you open up a Superdome, a NinjaTrader Superdome, one thing that kind of caught me my first day, I was like, wait a second. On the account at the bottom here is usually blank. So you're going to have to populate it by clicking on that drop-down menu, that little caret that's pointing downward, and you're going to pick one, and I'll go ahead and pick one, a SimCag Sim. Don't know how that got named that. And there we go. So now if I place a trade in a live account or even in a sim account, it's going to go in the right spot, right? It's going to go to SimCag Sim. In this case, it's a simulated live account. So now I have a Superdome, which is also commonly referred to as a direct access level 2 trading ladder. It looks like a ladder, right? The smallest price increment, all the way from the bottom to the top. That's the smallest tick size you can get in this particular market. And it looks like a ladder climbing up to bigger and bigger numbers. Some of us who have been around for a real long period of time, like really long, would call it a matrix. But again, this is a depth of market. It's the NinjaTrader Superdome. I think the best trading ladder out there. And it shows a whole bunch of great information on the screen. Couple other tips I want to point out. Now that we have our workspace, right? We have our workspace created. We already named it, right? We have a name for the workspace. And when you're done trading for the day, or you want to close down your desktop, or you're done with the software, make sure you don't close any individual window. Don't close the DOM, close the chart, close the market analyzer. What you want to do is close the control panel, this rectangle up here. Hit that X, because when you hit that X, then it'll close everything for you. It'll memorize everything the way that you painted it on the screen, and it'll also remember where the windows are. It'll maintain the position on your desktop. So that's key. I know, and I made the mistake myself. I closed this window, and then I moved something over, and I closed the control panel. And I was like, I opened it up the next day. And I was like, wait a second, where did my chart go? Well, because I closed it before I hit the X on this control panel. And by clicking on that X on the control panel, it's saving your setup. It's saving your layout. All right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground so far. A couple other tips I do want to give everybody on this kind of basic layout. You could trade from the trading ladder, right? And, there's this, again, we'll go into detail on this, but you could simply click on a price that you want to place a trade, or you could place a market order and those kind of things. I'm just going to click once. I clicked at 42.08 and a quarter. You could see that's where the market's trading right now. And it gives me some basic information, right? It shows me a green button at the bottom here. That means I'm long. I bought a contract. Remember, in futures trading, you could sell a contract first instead of buy a contract. If I was short, this rectangle would be red. And it has a 1 in here. That's how many contracts I've traded, right? Remember, in futures trading, you trade contracts, not shares. So that shows me what my position is. I'm long 1. That's what I would say out loud. Jim, what's your position? Well, I'm long 1. So that's super cool. Up here on my accounts tab, I have some information associated with my accounts, which is going to move around in real time as the market moves around. My unrealized P&L is negative $25. My total P&L then would be $37 if I were to flatten my position. So this moves around in real time. Positions tab, if you want more kind of defined information, this just shows you the positions you have. These show you your open positions. And again, it has this is my mark-to-market gross P&L, and it's moving around. The trade's going against me, right? The market, let me freeze this. This I don't know, brown, we call it a brown rectangle, that's graphically telling me, hey, Jim, this is where you're long from, 1408.25. This yellow rectangle says, hey, this is where the market last traded, right between the bid and the ask, which is exactly where it's supposed to be. So that yellow will kind of move around. I froze the trading ladder here by putting my mouse on it. I'm going to put it back here. Now, I want to toggle back. So we have a trade going on right now. I want to toggle back to a 10-minute chart for the E-mini S&P. And that's the same market we're in right here. Now, there's this thing. It looks like an egg beater. Remember those old-fashioned egg beaters? You would help your mom make a cake. You get to lick the frosting after you're done. That's what this looks like. I'm going to click on it, and I could have Chart Trader off. I could have Chart Trader on, or I could have Chart Trader hidden, which is also on. We'll go ahead and just click on that Chart Trader. Okay, looks familiar, right? This is now I can trade from the chart. So that's a pretty cool feature. The account is blank though. Why is my account blank? You got to add it. So click drop down. NinjaTrader doesn't want to assume which account you want to make a trade in. Drop it down and put it there. And what do you see? You see a label, and this is like a cocktail stirrer right here. This is showing you where your position is, right? This is like that brown box. I'm long green 1 contract at 42.08, right? That's what that's showing right there. Chart Trader's on. You could see it. Not only could you see it, I could make a trade right now. Let's say, all right, so I'm long a contract right now. I want to put a stop loss in because I'm not, again, it's best practices for start. And I want to, if I'm wrong on the direction of my trade, my opinion is the market's going to go up. But if it doesn't go up, I'm wrong. It happens. And so I want to put a stop loss in. I'm going to use the Chart Trader to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and right click at the price I want. And then this another menu appears. Menus are appearing everywhere. So this is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on Sell Stop Market. click it there, and now I have my stop loss. And look at this. And it showed up on the trade. It showed up on the depth of market. It showed up on the Superdome. So these two things are totally in sync. Now, you might not want to trade from the chart. You might not want to trade from the Superdome. It's up to you. And you might not want to see it on your chart either. So that's why you have a couple of options here. Now, another trick, I'm going to leave you with this trick also. I don't want this dialog box in my way. I don't want this dialog box in my way. And we'll get into detail on some of the stuff I could do, including, I'm going to right click again, OCO orders, automatic trade management, and stuff like that. But we'll get into that in another event. But right now, what I want to do is I want to hide that. So I'm going to go back here and say chart trader hidden. So now my chart trader is hidden, right? My chart trader is hidden. And I don't have that panel anymore in my way. I could also shrink the size of the labels. Again, we'll go into the formatting of this thing another time, but we could shrink it so it doesn't take up so much real estate. Alternatively, lastly but not least, you could always just turn chart trader off and these things won't show up. So those are a couple of tricks. Remember, if you want to trade from the chart, go to the egg beater, click on that, and you're going to get that drop-down menu, and you could turn it on, or you could turn it on hidden. Even if you turn it on hidden, which is what I have it in now, you right-click, and you can still get all the options here. You still get all the options here. Whew. All right. Oh, one other thing, too. Sorry, I just thought of another thing. Now, you could have another Superdome if you want. I'm just going to go to New, and I'm going to click on Superdome again. It'll give me another one. Let's say in this particular case, I wanted to show a micro E-mini S&P. I would type in MES, that's the symbol, double click. And then again, don't forget to add your account, right? Add your account. And I have another instance of it. Or I could make this crude oil, or I could make this NASDAQ. It doesn't matter. You could have as many of the Superdomes open as you want as well, side by side, maybe on another monitor as well. So it's just the flexibility is depending on your setup, depending on your style, your personality, how you're going to trade, how many, if you're going to have multiple monitors, you have the ability to really construct a really great in-depth look at the market. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, by closing this, now when I close my from my control panel, it's not going to remember. It's going to say, no, Jim, you got rid of that other Superdome. You didn't want to save it, which is true. All right, so that's pretty much, we've pretty much covered it. I think, and again, any questions, get them to Ed. We're going to wrap it up in a second here, but this is your basic workspaces. Now, I have many different workspaces saved up here. I could toggle between them all pretty easily. And there it is, 3 ways to trade, right? I could save it, I could save as, but or I could close it, right? Instead of hitting that X on the upper right-hand side of the control panel, I could do that too, right? Any of these things would work. But I'm just so used to just clicking on that. And then if I want to go back to, my other desktop view, the one we do the opening range and bars closing at, I'm going to click on this top 5 indicators, and it'll bring up that workspace, right? So it closes the other one, brings up this one, and that's that workspace. Oh, look, my position is still going, right? Because it's the same account, different workspace. So it's a really kind of it's a super handy feature, especially if you're really into having different views at different times of the day, different times of the night. You want to have multiple workspaces set up. It's a super great way to go. Those are the main things. We're going to go over this control panel in detail in another event. We're going to go over the charting in another event, which is probably going to take a little bit longer. We're going to go over the Superdome because there's so much more stuff here the Superdome does. And then the market analyzer, the way I have it set up, we're going to pump up the volume on the market analyzer next Monday, and I'm going to show you some really cool stuff that the market analyzer does. And I have everything set up. I took the time. These are all of my different asset classes. I'll leave us on this note: stock index futures, currency futures, so much better than over-the-counter forex. We got some micro forex down here. We got energies. We have metals. We have treasuries. We have cryptos. And yes, we even have grains. Remember how this whole thing started back in 1920, or whenever that was, with the grain market. So fantastic. In any event, I hope everybody got something out of this today. Again, we're going to do some deeper dives going forward here. In the meantime, feel free to reach out to any of us. Feel free to reach out to Ed. Feel free to reach out to me, and I can get information to Ed Again, my email address, jim.cagnina@ninjatrader.com. Appreciate everybody being here. Remember, a lot of risk, a lot of volatility, a lot of opportunity, a lot of risk. Be careful. Risk capital only. Easy on the day trade margins, folks. Appreciate everybody being here. And today, by the way, bars closing with Tom Schneider, 3:15. Don't miss it. I'm not going to miss it. Can't wait to see Tom tell us what happened in the marketplace today and look for some possible trade ideas at the end of the day. In the meantime, everybody, most important message, please be safe out there and be good to each other. Thanks for coming.